There are shows with psychics,
And there are shows with doctors.
but there's no show like The Psychic and the Doc.
Your practical paranormal power unleashed.
This show synthesizes the talents of world-class medium Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, psychic explorer,
And street smart spiritualist, behavioral psychologist, Dr. Pat Baccili. All subjects are on the table and no topic is taboo. Inspiration, insight,
action, and fun as Mark Anthony connects callers with loved ones in spirit.
in tandem with Dr. Pat's fresh, no-nonsense, street-smart, intuitive insights. And she is hilarious.
Extraordinary problems
Require extraordinary solutions, which may come from this side
or the other side. This is The Psychic.
and the doc. And it starts now.
Yo, everybody. Yo, like hello, like YOLO, like YOLO.
Yo, and hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we really have a great show tonight, and
Yeah.
the theme is timeless. It applies for any time of the year. It is keep your head under pressure. Now that doesn't mean
Oh, my
like
God. Why did
put your
you
head
do
in
that?
a vice. It means when you're subjected to pressure and anyone that's got any form of responsibility, whether it's running a radio
my
network
gosh.
like Dr. Pat, running a law firm, being a parent, a student, I mean, you have any type of responsibility, you're going to have pressure.
Yeah.
And you got to keep your head under that pressure, don't you think,
That's
Dr.
right.
Pat?
Yeah, we're talking about pressure. Hey, make those fajitas good in that kitchen. So
No pressure there.
no pressure there. I'm obviously I'm in my home. I'm not even in my home studio. I'm in my home living room. And I apologize. I got my February love color on. Do you see that?
Well, you're
Okay.
getting ready for Valentine's Day. You have that
Yeah.
beautiful
yeah.
Valentine's
Why
color.
do we
'Cause
wear blue all the time on the show?
it is so weird. We don't for for the viewers. Dr. Pat and I do not coordinate what we're going to wear, and I swear to 99 times out of 100, we end up wearing the same color. And it's funny, I was going to wear a green shirt tonight, and I just saw this sweater. It's it's not really cold here, but I just felt like wearing a sweater, and there we go. But I'll tell you where I
But
learned.
let's go to this topic first.
Yeah.
Why? See, I have got to talk to Rocky and Linda. No more topics like this because we picked these. Catherine, we will get right to you. I swear. 1-800-930-2819. We're taking your calls. So here's what I've learned 20 years. Is right? Mark, you teach this. What you put in your mindset is what you call in.
Yeah.
So no more pressure topics, because since you picked the topic, I have had a fascinating pressure cooker situation week. But here's what I know about it. Everything is divine. So the way you get around from the pressure cooker is not looking at it as that, right, Mark? Tell us about that from where you sit.
Well, that's true. It's true. And it's your mindset. And I'll tell you where I learned about keeping cool under pressure. I was 6 years old, and my dad, one day, he brought home this wooden boat. It was about 8 foot long. And I remember my mom was like, what are you going to do with that hunk of junk? And he was an aerospace engineer, and he had this special piece of glass. It was left over from something they were working on a space vehicle. And my dad actually made a window in the bottom of the boat. So we had this glass bottom boat, and every weekend he would take my brother and I out in this boat. And one weekend we went up, there's this place called Crane Creek, and back then the whole area was undeveloped. It was real tropical and jungly, and it had this little 5-horse air-cooled engine. We're puttering up, and we're going a bit further and deeper into the jungle than we normally did. And all of a sudden the engine sputtered and went out. and Dad's like trying to get you know, he's looking at it because he was a Navy SEAL, you know, he'd been a Navy SEAL, and all of a sudden something hits the boat, and we think that it's a log. Well, my brother and I are looking under the glass, you know, the glass bottom, the window, and all of a sudden, all these little tiny alligators are looking up at us. And then we realized the thing that hit us wasn't a log. And all of a sudden, all around us, alligators started surfacing, from little tiny ones to some that were longer than our 8-foot boat. And, you know, I remember when I saw that old James Bond film, Live and Let Die, where all the
Oh
alligators are.
no.
This was just like that, except this was real. And they're coming up. And I remember my brother, you know, he was all of like 11 years old. He's got a gig. And my dad says, no. And he made me get in the middle of the boat. He said, don't put your arms overboard. And all of a sudden, we are surrounded by dozens of huge alligators, and they're closing in on this boat. Now, it would be really easy to panic, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared to death. And I knew my dad was scared, but a crisis is no time to fall apart. And I could see he was sweating, but he took the cover off the engine. He pulled out the foam filter, poured gas on it, started scraping it. What had happened was air-cooled engine. The filter got clogged, and he cleaned it, put it on, and all of a sudden he's like, and then like on the third or fourth try of pulling the cord, all of a sudden the engine jumped and it started sputtering, and we started moving. But and Dad, you know, he gently got the engine going. He didn't want to risk it stalling, and then he opened that sucker up, and we got out of there. Okay, and I'll never forget when we got back and we got the car and loaded up the boat. He said to my brother and I, "Do not tell your mother."
Oh yeah. Well, right. I mean, how many times have we gone? But I love that story for a lot of reasons. And, you know, I've had a lot of mentors. I did a show with Trish Smith today, and she interviewed me. And, you know, it was interesting the direction the show went, because I was so reminded of the people in my life that have mentored me. And I've had the privilege of working with. Now, we also talked about how they did that. And, you know, I don't know what it was about going through a period of this, really going through the time we went through, where there was a sense of urgency, and we did not have in business, we did not have the vehicles we have today. You know, you couldn't text somebody and say, your stock is crashing. Hello, do something, right?
Right.
So there were things that we had to handle with minimum tools. And I was reminded of that today. And one of the things I shared on the show was, I am so divinely protected. I know this. I think you are too, Mark. You know, if we look at the lives we have had divine interventions. And so when I see things happen in my life, they are all blessings. As hard as some of them may be, they are all blessings. And it's odd. It's odd to look at it. I lost my spiritual mentor in a car crash that she was in Morocco, in a Jeep that I was supposed to be in with her.
Wow.
But I couldn't go. I couldn't go with her. And so anytime there's a blip on the radar, and I mean a blip, what I love about it is, as hard, and even sometimes as hard as as hurt as my heart is, I know that there is an outcome on the other side that is preparing me for something in life. And that something in life is 10 times greater than whatever we've gone through. Now, it's taken me a lot of years to get there. And the reason I'm bringing it up is, we do this show, where people call in that have gone through extraordinary pain. Nothing like the little peanut thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But they've gone through extraordinary pain. And thank you for doing this show with me, because tonight I'm reminded how picayune these things this week are. And we put it in perspective. And you and I are alive, and we're doing a show to help people. So
Yes.
Tonight, how do you relieve the pressure? You take a little pin and you pop the balloon. Why don't we take Don't do that. But you understand the metaphor, right?
Well, what I learned from my dad, see, the engine overheated, but and it's like when things get hot, stay cool.
Oh, yeah.
And it's real easy when you're under
Yeah.
pressure to completely lose it.
Yeah.
And you got to learn to let your logic and let your
Yeah.
instincts control your impulse to
Mhm.
lose control. So
Yeah.
on that note, I think we'll be back in a few minutes. And this is a call-in show tonight, everyone. 1-800-930-2819. I'm the psychic. I'm here with the doc, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Break out in that David Bowie pressure song.
Yeah, I was
Pressure,
thinking
like
about
that
that.
pressure song, that like Bowie pressure song, right?
Under
No.
pressure. And
Under pressure.
when
Under pressure with David Bowie.
and when he did the duet with Freddie Mercury,
Oh,
I mean,
hey.
talk about two
Oh my
legends. Wow.
gosh.
That was
Yeah,
just amazing.
yeah.
Well,
Those two had a little pressure, but we don't have any tonight.
not at all. No, we
No.
always have people
My hair is having a pressure moment.
well, people say, you and Dr. Pat, you look like you're so cool and calm. We are, but we aren't. And people need to realize that, when you put yourself out there, that's pressure. Also, with the nature of what we do, we don't know anything about the callers, so we're here to help. But the thing is, sometimes pressure is not always a bad thing. It's a
It's
motivating
not.
influence too, you
Yeah.
know. So
This is what I'm saying. The whole blessing of the past several weeks for me, it's such a motivating thing to do things differently, but to do things faster and bigger for us. And people say, oh my gosh, are you kidding? You're going to kill yourself. No, I'm not, because I play ping pong. Let's go to the phone, Sierra.
Up first, we have Catherine from Florida. Catherine from Florida, you are live.
Catherine.
Hello, I called back to let you know about the rose
Tell us.
okay, yeah.
from last week. It was my dad's mother. She wore rose. She had rose everything: rose hand cream, rose lip balm. And when she died, I kept a little tin of the rose lip balm that was hers. But she had rose china, everything. So
Wow.
I know she greeted my daughter, and that's who it was. So I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, to recap, last week when Catherine called in, she wanted to speak to the spirit of her daughter who came through. And then I kept getting images of a rose, but there was also somebody with the name Ruth as well. Who was Ruth?
Oh, that was my grandmother on my adopted mother's side.
Okay, so you had two grandmothers showing up because Rose and Ruth. And when I hear something from a spirit, you have to realize the way I'm hearing them is not the way we're hearing each other now. It's a vibrational thing that forms in my mind's ear. So Rose and Ruth have a similar cadence, but then I kept saying I'm smelling rose water. I'm smelling like Jergens lotion. And it's
Right.
sometimes, and Catherine, first off, thank you very much for calling
Yes,
in
please,
to
thank
validate.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm happy. I love your show, and thank you. Thank you
yeah.
both.
So now we know that the rose was you had two grandmothers there with your daughter. I mean that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh,
And it's the month of February. And what do we think about in the month of February?
roses for Valentine's Day. Hey, Catherine, your spirits
Yeah.
are projecting, the peace sign, the circle with the peace sign. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, peace is a good thing, but is there anything about that particular sign that shakes or resonates with you?
Yes, every day I say peace and love to my good spirit friends in Jesus' name. Amen. I talk to them. And that does, yes, that's wonderful.
Perfect. So
Yes.
see, they're not only are they listening, they're wishing that back to you.
Yeah.
Wow, talk about
But
dealing with pressure.
that's a
Wow.
blessing.
Oh, wow, peace is the antidote for pressure.
Yeah, Catherine, I can't thank you enough for calling back. A lot of times we do the shows, we don't know where, what happens with people if they're okay. We know that they're okay, but we don't know how things evolved. Thank you so much for letting us know. And thank you
Oh,
for
you're welcome.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's an honor to be able to take this walk with you. Thank you so much for calling back.
God bless,
Well,
Catherine.
thank you both. I love your show, and I really appreciate just your reading, and the call-in last week has brought me deep healing. And I've communicated with my daughter since I didn't let go when she died, and I communicate with her spirit. But hearing it come through someone else who's not a slick, like, commercial kind of psychic, but I believe you're the real deal, and I appreciate that, and it brought me healing. So I just want you both to know I appreciate it. Thank you so
Oh.
much.
You
Thank
bet.
you,
Thank you,
Catherine.
Catherine. Wow. I see. I knew you were the real deal, but now Catherine has confirmed it. That's a deniable, verifiable. What do you say?
Verifiable fact
Verifiable,
following the
verifiable.
message.
Okay, that's it. The real deal. Sorry. You just got me in a little bit of a fun time right here. Okay, Sierra, we're ready. We're ready. We're ready for the next callers. I hope they're ready for us.
Up next, we have Constant from Minneapolis. Constant, you are live.
Hey, how are you? Is it Constant or Constance? Which is it?
Constance.
Like
Constance.
CE with the CE.
Yes, with a CE, that's correct.
Cool name. I love that name. It didn't
It
go
was my
well
dad's middle name.
it didn't go well with my last name Baccili, so they decided to call me Pat. How can we help you? How can we help you tonight?
Well, I've been going through some pretty tough stuff. I have long COVID for the last 4 years. So I'm bedridden, and I used to be a ballerina by trade for
Wow.
41 years. So to be put in a bed and not being able to move my legs, it's been a real challenge on too many levels that I could say.
Can I just say something real quick? I don't know why I have to say this to you. Mary Jane Mack. I don't know why this is, I have no, Mary Jane Mack. I don't know if you have access to a computer or people in your home. Mary Jane Mack. If I get time later, maryjanemack.com. If I get time later, I'll explain why, but I want Mark to be able to help you tonight.
Yeah, go ahead, Constance. How can I help you?
Well, also, I've been doing these Google photos of my family because I really wanted to remember, and honor, my family, and I was thinking so much about. I hold the archives that go back to 1885 to Germany, and I've got photographs on my phone. So I was doing Google photographs. They came out wrong. They came out like 6 at a time instead of a book. But so many of them. And then I was gonna gift one to my niece, who was totally awful to me today when I called her. She hates me. I don't know why. And my sister, I didn't even try to contact. But I meant to give them to them for Valentine's Day, a book of the family, so they would know where we came from, and they would hold it sacred. But maybe they really don't care like I do. But these people up here in my dreams, these people talk to me. They're very familiar to me. I was in Cologne, Germany, some years ago, and I could speak fluent German when I stepped off the train. And there are some burial plots there by the cathedral that are my family. And it was just a very familiar place to me. And I don't know why they're coming around and I'm doing this, Google photographs, and I'm finding so many of them appear. My great grandmother and great great grandfather and things like that. I mean, there's just so many. It's like a giant, deluge of my family, and I think that maybe they're there to make me feel better or say it's okay, or maybe it's time for me to go home, because
Constant
I've been
is
so.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but is your father in spirit?
Yes, he is.
Because I'm getting when you were speaking, I'm getting a male energy that feels like a dad coming through. And the
Mm.
interesting thing, he's got this huge loaf of bread. It's like it almost looks like French bread that's real long, and I can taste it.
Yeah.
It's got a real crispy crust, but the inside is nice and soft and moist. And I
Hmm.
know that Germans really like their bread, but what is it with the fresh baked bread? I can smell it. Like when you walk into a bakery and you can smell fresh bread baking. I'm getting that. Does that make any sense to you? If I say like fresh baked bread, what comes to mind for you?
Well, what is it? One of his siblings married into the biggest baking company in Germany.
Okay. So
So
now, okay, so we got dad coming through. Hold on. And he's taught.
he was a, he
Oh,
was he was a bass player. He was a
all right, right,
symphony
right.
bass
Hold
player.
on, Constance, Constant. When I'm communicating with spirits, and this is what I tell people before readings. First off, don't volunteer information because see now I know that he's a bass player. And also, when I'm getting a message from a spirit, try not to interrupt me until I say, "Do you recognize this?" or "Does that make sense?" Because it can cause me to lose the message from the spirit. But when I was saying, "Oh, I understand with the bread," this has multiple meaning messages. Number one, it's an identifier on him because one of his siblings married into a huge baking family in Germany. But secondly, he's talking about your sister and your niece, and he's saying that on the outside, they're a tough, thick crust. They're kind of crusty, but beyond that, there is a tenderness. So by you giving them the pictures, because he showed me pictures, 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 and I don't know if you're trying to send them like hard copy or email them. I'm getting that like sending an email folder would be the better way to go. But he wants you to know that. And he said that our family is filled with very strong people, but we're not always so vocal about our innermost feelings and tenderness. That's what he wants you to know. Dr. Pat, what's your take?
So, Constance, I got to tell you, I do a lot of these shows with Mark, and there are some things that just hit me emotionally. And I'm going to tell you what hit me today. And I think it's a culmination of the week that I've had, really. Um, I don't understand why your family would treat you that way. And I cannot tell you without getting a little feisty, but I'll try not to. I My heart goes out to you because you said it. They hate me and I don't know why. There's no room in this world and on this planet for hate. But as my friend Susan Dene would say, you got to know you're crazy. KNOW. You got to know those parts of you that are crazy so you could see the crazy in other people. And I'm telling you, the emotional hate or, just whatever that happened today and that communication, I hope by calling in today, we can give you some relief because we don't feel that way about you. You understand, Constance?
Yes,
We love you.
yes, I do.
We love you.
Yeah,
You got that?
I just was. I was just so hurt.
Yes. And boy,
I
Yeah.
did I feel that went right to my heart. I thought I was going to lose it.
Well,
we're
I
going to
did
try
lose
to
it.
hold, we're going to try to hold the space for you so that the peace that Catherine spoke of before, and Catherine, I hope if you're listening, the peace that she was holding and that peace mantra she says every day. I wish I could remember what that was. I hope, Catherine, you call back in because I want her to repeat that for Constance, because I'm telling you, you don't deserve to be treated like that.
No, you
You
don't.
don't. And, you know, I got a little bit of that this week myself, and I started to have me a little pity party. And then my guide came through and kicked me right in the butt. But our job is to be here for you. That's why Mark and I do this. We don't know who's going to call in, but I'm telling you, you called in the right place. And I want to just say to you this: whatever you think you are, you're more than that. Matt James gave that quote to me. He uses it. And Mark, what would you like to say to Constance to help her on her way?
Constance, there are people who in your life who will just not like you. And when they're strangers and people you don't care about, it doesn't matter. And sometimes the people who don't like you, or at least give the appearance that they don't like you, are family members or former friends. It really hits to the core. But you have to realize you are returning their negativity with love, concern, caring. You want to give them pictures. So their negativity says much more about them
Yeah.
than it ever does about you.
Yeah.
And so keep, what you're doing with the pictures, do it.
Yeah. Keep
Do it.
doing that.
Keep doing it.
Please keep
Mhm.
doing it. And there are people that can help you if you don't know the technology of it, but what you're doing is sacred. You see that what you're doing with the family, that is sacred. You're doing it in love. Don't let anybody rain on that parade for you. You do you know what I'm saying to you, Constance, right? Please
Yeah.
keep calling into this show.
I,
And
I,
when you call in, I don't care if we do a reading, we're just going to keep telling you we love you. You got that?
but I printed 99 photos last night.
I love you. Hey, come on over to my house. You can do some of that for me. Constance, thank you so much for calling in. Thank
All
you.
right. Many
Much love to
blessings.
you. I want to shake people.
Yeah,
So this is my Bronx now. Okay. All right. Great
well,
pizza, but I don't get that. We were at a meeting the other day and Linda described me this morning. And she described me to one of our staff. And I just watched, listen, Linda, what she did. She said, let me tell you something about Dr. Pat. And then let me tell you something about me. And she was very clear about who Linda was. She was like, cross me once, you're out of here. I mean, she's the kind of person that I know if she's my friend, I have earned it. I know I have. Rocky, I know you're there, sister. Right. And then she described me. And as she was describing me, I asked, is it a blessing or a curse? She said, Pat will trust you impeccably the minute she meets you. And it is true of me. So people like me who have a hard crust outer persona, when stuff happens to us, it used to take me a month. Now it takes me a couple of days. But when a caller calls in like that, I can so feel that.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a very, I think, important example. All right, in the last week, we know that King Charles has cancer.
Yeah.
Well, Harry flew all the way to London to see him, and his brother William refused to see him, and Harry doesn't want to see them. And it's like, okay, it should not, and royalty and titles notwithstanding, brothers, fathers, family members, don't let it come to something like cancer for you to reconcile.
Oh my God.
Okay. And it's probably in a way good that somebody's so high profile, because it shows like no matter how high profile you are, all families are dysfunctional. All right, guys, if anyone in the royal family's missing, get over it. Okay. And the thing is, of course, the Buckingham Palace and the British Prime Minister are playing down the seriousness. But if the king dies, then you got these two brothers that are going to be living with regrets that they didn't reconcile. And so, for everybody listening, every family has some type of dysfunction, some type of dynamic that we watch these shows and wish that, oh, I was like, those families on TV, but that's fantasy.
Yeah,
Get over it.
I agree
Forgive
with
each
you.
other, love each
I
other.
agree with you. And that's not just a message for families. I'm just saying,
For
you
friends
know,
too, yeah.
you know what? One of my mentors said something to me many years ago, especially my first year of recovery. And I remember what they said to me, because when you're in recovery and you come out of recovery and you see the world, you're like, oh my God, what is the world? It's like different. And I remember, I can't remember which mentor it was that said this, Carlton Brown, maybe it was Carlton, I can't remember. But I remember one day being at the last 2 years of this job, and I was so frustrated. Holy cow. I was frustrated. And all I kept saying is, I am so bleeping frustrated with this whole situation and overwhelmed. And he sat me down. And I don't have time in this show to tell you what he said. But the bottom line was, get the bleep over it.
Yeah.
That was the end game. Let's go to the phones if we could, Sierra. I felt like smacking him when he said that, though. Can we go to the phone, please?
You kept your head under pressure.
No, but I took that in and I did get over it, because you know what frustration hurts? Yourself. Okay,
Yep.
who do we have? Ms. Sierra.
Up next, we have Sandra from Connecticut. Sandra, you
And we got to
are
get
live.
both of these people in tonight. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Is it Sandra or is it Sandra?
It's Sandra. Hello,
Yeah.
good evening.
Hey, how can we
Can you
help
hear
you,
me?
Sandra? Yeah, loud and clear. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. So this is my dilemma. We lost our German Shepherd in November. I was heartbroken, depressed, in mourning, grieving, and it kind of opened up a wound, because she was my healing balm. She was my elixir from grief for many years. So we were drawn to a puppy. She was 9 months old and online from a rescue, and we adopted her. And so we have an 11-and-a-half-month-old German Shepherd puppy now, who came from the Bronx, who was tied to a pole and put in a crate at night outside. And so I've been working really hard with her, even though I work, we work full time. Been working very hard, but she is a challenge. I just want to, I have so much hope for her. I guess I want to know, did Spirit send her to us? Because she does give me so much incentive. We walk for miles after work in the forest. So I'm getting connected to nature, and I'm also losing inches. But for her, I want her to be able to feel safe and not be so reactive, when she sees people or other dogs. She's definitely a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that a pet will come into your life unless it's meant to be.
Yeah.
So I just needed a little bit of guidance on that, and then maybe Spirit can assist.
Well, I think you've already answered that question, but what I'm getting is that you are in this animal's life every bit as importantly as she is in yours, because you are the one that needed to rescue her from that environment, okay, where she was being mistreated. And it's interesting because this is an exercise in trust. Like, the dog acts out, and obviously when a puppy's mistreated, they're going to respond accordingly. Are you in some type of training class with the dog? Have you got into training?
I have consulted trainers, but because she's so reactive, she can't go to a class.
What about a
So I'm
private
doing all,
one-on-one? Because there are some trainers that will come and work. Because I have a friend who had a dog that was like that and had to have the trainer come to the
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the dog's in your life for a reason, you're in the dog's life for a reason, but now as the custodian of this being, you have to work with her even more so. So that's what the message
hmm
is. Dr.
Yeah.
Pat, you're a behavioral
I got
this is
it. No,
behavioral
this
psychology.
is it. I have had to have I have had to do my own behavioral therapy for the past couple of weeks. But I'm going to tell you what the issue is as I hear you say it. Are you ready for it? Can you hear it? What I'm about to say?
Yes,
Okay. So
absolutely.
I think you said somewhere in there that you're going to lose your job. Did you say that? What'd you say?
No,
What'd you say?
no,
I'm
I
going to
didn't say.
lose something. You said I'm losing something.
Oh, inches,
Oh,
inches,
inches
because
from
I'm
what?
getting so much.
Oh,
I'm getting so. I'm getting so.
girlfriend, send me some of that. Okay, here's what I want to say. I'm going to give you three things to do. The dog is a pet.
I'm right.
Okay, all right. You are the alpha. Just agree with me, even though if you don't believe what I'm saying. Just say okay.
I
Just
think.
say okay.
Okay. Think.
Okay.
Okay.
You have a German Shepherd. I had a German Shepherd, and I will tell you that my demeanor, my mood, what I was going through in my life made that dog, poor Linda. But I'm saying what we have learned about behavior and is all about energy. It's never a dog
Mm-hmm.
problem. It's a human problem. So there are a couple things you do with the German Shepherd. First of all, you don't get one of those big metal things around their neck. You go in the other
Okay.
direction if you're going to walk the dog. You get a silk, and the silk goes up here. But here's what I want to say with you. This is a training you've got to go through with a private trainer because it's about training you.
Right. I understand.
Okay. You cannot own a German Shepherd without both love and
Mm-hmm.
authority. You are the
Right.
alpha, right? So not
My
all dogs are the
male.
same.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, look, I cry every time those commercials come on the TV. I want to just, I don't know who treats
Yes.
animals like this, but you can't do that with this dog. You can love the dog
No.
and you can provide safety, but the dog, this beautiful German Shepherd, cannot be the alpha in the family.
This is it. She responds more to male than to me.
Because why? It has nothing to do with men. You have to be the alpha. Women are alphas
Yeah.
too. You have to be
Oh
the
Maybe
alpha.
since we're both female.
You have to
Two
be the
female.
alpha. Look, I'm going to tell you, Mark and I own companies and we own businesses. And I want to tell you, I had to look at myself here this past, I don't know how many months. And I will tell you, it's time for me to step up and be the alpha. You see, it's one
Okay.
thing when you run a business, you know, and I'm not just talking about with your team, I mean, in the outside world. And just because
Mm-hmm.
you are an alpha, you're not mean. That doesn't mean that. It just means
Right.
you are the
No, I
leader.
understand.
You are the pack leader. And you know why I'm giving you this message? I'm going to leave you with this because this is going to, you get it. This is eerie. You know how I'm reminded of this? I have a totem. One of my totems is the wolf. I live in a
Mm-hmm.
place where you do not see wolves. And Linda and I, we've been driving in like some ungodly hour in the morning, like
Mm-hmm.
6 o'clock, and we're driving down this road. And here's what happened. This was the message to me this week, but I didn't know why. I do now.
Mm-hmm.
Out in front of the car coming at us was a shadow, and this hopped across the road, and we saw the image of us. Both of us did. And then it turned around and it ran back right in front of Linda's car. And I didn't say anything to Linda because I knew what it was. But Linda said, that was a wolf.
Wow.
Now, in the pack, there has to be a leader. You have to be the leader of the pack.
Okay. I see the message.
Please hire somebody to help you with this. Please don't let it go. I know Connecticut. I
Okay.
live there. I know Connecticut.
Right.
You can get
All
yourself
the
a
forest.
great trainer. Come on.
I
Okay.
was discouraged because, yeah, I just know I
No,
have
you
to
don't
find the
take a
right
you don't
trainer.
take a dog like that to group training unless you work with Caesar Milan, and then he will take you. But get a private trainer. And may I say,
Okay.
not this is not a
Yes.
sexist thing, Mark. Get a woman.
No,
Okay.
that makes a lot of
Okay.
sense too,
Good.
because the
Okay.
animal will respond to the female pheromones
Get a
more. And
woman.
also,
Mm-hmm.
now this is Mark the lawyer jumping in. You have a German Shepherd, and I know you love the dog and all that, but it's still a dog, and they can bite somebody, and or even worse, and that
Yeah.
you're setting yourself self up for a major lawsuit and
Yeah.
liability issue.
Yeah.
It could also turn on you, no matter how much you think you love it, and vice
Oh yeah.
versa. You get that trainer in there, you do the one-on-one. If you're going to make
Yep.
the commitment to have an animal, then step up to the plate, take control,
Do
be
it.
the alpha, and do it.
Okay.
Sandra,
All
All
righty.
right.
go get
All
them.
right.
Go get it.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Oh my God, let's keep going. Yeah, see, she's got that covered. You know why? She loves the dog. So
Yeah.
she loves the dog. Now she's going to lead the dog.
The dog, right.
Okay, Sierra, thank you, Sandra. Who do we have next?
Up next, we have Linda from Florida. Linda from Florida, you are live.
Hey, Linda, how can we help you?
Good evening. Thank you for
Good evening.
taking my call. I'm a little nervous. I've been wanting to call in for some time, and I've been just procrastinating. And I'm reevaluating my beliefs, everything in life. I lost my brother, which I was more like a mother than a sister to him. I took care of him because my mother was deceased, and he was born with cerebral palsy. So losing him, I'm just paralyzed with grief, and I just want to know if he's with mom and dad.
Yeah, let me turn you right over to Mark here. Okay, let's see what Mark can do.
I'm getting spirits connected to you coming through, and the first thing they're presenting to me is the image of an apple. Now, let me go through this before you respond. Most people like apples, but this could mean you or your brother or somebody close to you either really loved apples or hated them. However, apples are also one of my triggers for the month of September because I associate harvesting apples with September. So this could mean any of the following: love or hate apples, a significant birth, death, anniversary, or event. Birth, death, anniversary, or event connected to you, to your brother, or your parents within the month of September. The other possibility is somebody in the education field, because you give an apple to a teacher. And the other one, and this has popped up a lot, is some people they use Apple computers and iPhones rather than Windows-based applications. Do any of those or any combination thereof make sense to you?
Yes, my birthday's in September, and I have an apple right here sitting on my desk that I was
right.
going to eat before I go to
Like a-
bed. It's a red, delicious apple.
Like
A
a real
red-
apple on your desk?
It's a real apple. It's a real apple. I took it out of my refrigerator because I like it at room temperature.
Now,
Oh,
isn't
I do
that
too.
interesting?
gosh,
Because
Mark.
this is how your brother and your parents are letting you know that they're around you and aware of what's happening in your life. And Dr. Pat brought it up before. That's a verifiable fact following a message. Your question is my brother with my parents? Are they together? And boom. And I said a group of spirits. I wasn't getting just one, I'm getting a group. Question: was it your dad or your brother? And I'm tending to think your brother that used to wear like shirts with a lot of like plaid pattern. I'm getting this plaid pattern. What's up with plaid?
Oh, that's my other brother that passed away in 2004. He was 45. Yeah, he was a fisherman. He liked his flannel shirts. He loved to fish all year long.
Well, guess what? Okay, I love this group of spirits. I know. So your brother that had the CP, is there with your parents, as is your other brother, the one that wore like the plaid shirts. So they're around you, they're with you, and now your dad is making me smell gasoline. What's going on with your car, your fuel lines, gas pump? There's something going on with your motor vehicle. I am smelling gasoline. What's going on?
I had a fairly new car. It was a lease car, and I was going to go in this month and purchase it because I only have 14,000 miles on it.
All
It's
right,
3 years old.
Hold on. Very good. Your interpretation is more important than mine. I'm smelling gasoline, and you said that you're driving a lease car and now you're thinking of going in and buying it. Okay. So this could be your dad referencing that. Question: does this car get good gas mileage? Maybe that's what he's bringing up. What kind of car is it?
It's a Honda. It's a Honda Civic.
Okay, yeah, they get good gas mileage. Um, is this some type of green color or aqua color? Your dad showed me aqua.
They call it cosmic. It's in the daylight. It's got like it's kind of a purple metal flake, and then it looks gray from a distance, just plain gray. But the color is cosmic.
I'll take a 0.75 cosmic hit on that one. Okay, now let's see what else.
I don't like the color, to be honest with you.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Now we got it.
All right, Dr. Pat, I'll let you take this one because I know you understand.
So why do you feel you got to buy this car?
The lease is up, and since I didn't put many miles on it, Dr. Pat, to be honest with you, I've been grieving so bad that I don't want to do anything.
Okay.
I'm lucky I go out once a week, and it's just to the grocery store and home.
I want to talk to you about that. Yeah. So first of all,
I've lost interest in everything because
I know
I'm paralyzed with grief.
So I want to help you with this. There's not much I'm going to be able to say because when you lose someone like that, you are to grieve. Now, I want to tell you there are things you can do, and I'm going to highly encourage you, Mark, you can help. I want you to get a hold of some support groups, and it's a strange word, but there are groups of people. They're online. You can go in person. I highly encourage you before you buy the car. How long do you have before you have to buy the car?
To next month, but I didn't want to wait till March because then they have the upper hand, you know.
Oh, no.
When you go in there, you can't negotiate or anything.
Oh, no, that's not true.
Then go to Toyota.
Yeah, that's not true. What I'm trying to say to you is that's not true. That they want you to think that. But the last thing they want you to do is turn that car in and go get a different model. So no, they don't have the upper hand. I want you to take your time with this. That's why your dad, that's why I think the gasoline thing.
Yeah, the gasoline.
There's something about the car that's not right for you. But also, I want you to really try to get some help for yourself. See, I know we're talking about the car, and my advice to you is, look, I work with women in recovery, and I say, do not make a decision when you are mad, upset, or grieving. You don't have to do it this month, okay? You're not going to be penalized. And then ask yourself the question, why would I buy a car if I don't like the color?
I was just doing it because the miles, I've taken such good care of it. It's a little cream puff.
I know, but are you in a position to lease another car? Let me ask that.
Yes, I could do that. I could lease, but I just purchased because of my age, and I thought, I don't want to bother with the lease, and I really didn't know.
What do you mean because of your age? What are you gonna like? Are you gonna be too old to drive, or what is the age thing? There is no age. You can buy.
I'm up there in age, but people don't realize my age because
she's talking to me.
I don't think I look my age, and people get shocked. But I'm up there. But I've got I used to have a very lively spirit, but everything just seems dead to me.
That's what you're going to get some help.
I share something with Mark. I can understand why my father would do the mechanical end he was very intelligent, and he had a couple patents,
Yeah.
and he had a very
Something about
analytical
the
mind.
car.
We're low on time, so
Yeah,
so
so
let's
I
stick
just
with
gotta
Dr.
tell
Pat's
you,
advice.
you're now confirming this is your father who somehow is red flaming flag about the car. You just said he's a high powered, smart person. Why do you think he might do that in a show like this to give you a message about this? Give me an answer in 10 seconds. Why do you think he would give you this message?
Because he loves me and they're with me.
And
he could have just said, I love you.
Well, I love them and they love me and they're watching over me.
Yeah.
What
is he trying to tell you?
I guess don't take that car.
I think we have a winner. Also, he's telling you treat yourself.
Treat
Here's the thing,
yourself.
you're paralyzed with grief. Don't get a car that you don't like the color. Go pick out a car that you like. That's the color you want. Treat yourself. You deserve it.
But
And
get some help, right, Mark? Can you please share where she can go for help?
Absolutely. There's grief counseling groups either through churches, and there's ones that aren't religious based. Don't go through grief alone. Don't ever go through grief. I recommend my book, Never Letting Go. It's my first book. It's a guide on the journey through grief.
Yeah.
So don't go through grief alone, and treat yourself. By treating yourself, that doesn't mean go spend every penny you have, but get a car that you like, because that's what your dad's saying. Because the gas line, something wasn't right. You don't like that color of that car, and don't let car dealerships, oh, you better do this now. Look, they're in the business of making money. They'll tell you anything that they to get you to buy a car.
Tell them to call me.
Yeah. Or,
Tell
you
them to
know,
call
if
me.
they
You guys
tell
are
you,
so-
say, keep the car. Keep the car. There's plenty. Let me tell you, there's a lot of
They
cars in
start
the
jabbing
world.
about you.
Yeah.
You say, wait, I got to call Dr. Pat because this is BS. Stop it. Or I'm going to go get some other brand. Okay.
Okay. Maybe I'll
Well,
go look at a used Corvette.
And you know what? Maybe this little bit of feisty fire is your spirits kicking you, lighting a fire under your butt to give you some pressure, so you start using your head. Okay, that's the theme of the show. Keep your head under pressure. Sometimes pressure is a good thing. So don't let these car dealerships walk all over you.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave you with this. I was in a situation these past couple weeks, and it was so easy for me to compromise. Compromise is easy, right? And I'm telling you, you don't win when you compromise. Compromise is not an end game. Win and win that is the game. And so you already know. And the fact that we're not mechanics, we don't know. I just want to tell you, please don't make a hasty decision. Wait, go get some support and then revisit it. Okay.
I will. And it's ironic that you mentioned the car, because I have been putting it in my mind because of this. I'm in my final stages of my life. And I said, why don't I just go live it up, not buy a new Corvette? I've always loved Corvettes. I thought maybe I'll buy a nice used Corvette and just that's my last Yahoo.
Your age has nothing to do with what you drive. It has nothing to tell Betty White that. It has nothing to do with that. I don't even know what the number is, but I'm telling you, your spirit says, give me that Corvette. So please get the help, get the support, allow your true nature to come through. And you're not the kind of person that I believe is ever compromised, right? So just give yourself some breathing room on this. You got it?
I got it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, everybody, Dr. Pat and I. Yeah, go treat yourself, everybody. But keep your head under pressure. And Dr. Pat and I will be back next week for our Valentine's Day show. And 60 years ago, the Beatles came to America. So all you need is love. And I encourage everyone to visit bestholisticlife.com. Get the February issue of Best Holistic Life magazine. I have a feature article in it called By George, 6 decades of the Beatles, and I write a story about George Harrison and his spirituality. Tune in next week. We'll be back.
Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning into The Psychic and the Doc with Mark Anthony and me, Dr. Pat Baccili, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Hey, look, come back next week so we can explore with you more of life's many challenges and learn from fascinating guests. And you know what? Even Mark and me. We'll connect you and discover insights from people in this life and from the afterlife. Extraordinary problems? Yeah, they do. They require extraordinary solutions. But step into the world of possibilities with us on The Psychic and the Doc. That's every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. That's TransformationTalkRadio.com. And don't forget, we're also live face-to-face on Facebook.com, Transformation Talk Radio.